Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Don't Know a Ball podcast. We got the whole crew here today. We got a very special guest. I kind of teased it last week a little bit. Everybody in St. Louis knows this man's voice. Welcome to the show, the Cardinal PA announcer and KC legend, John Ulett. You, man. How you doing today, John?
Hi, guys. Doing all right. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We're so excited to talk with you today about your career in radio, your career as a PA announcer, and we'll talk a little Cardinal baseball later on.
Yeah, sure.
Are you excited for this season?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
You excited for the season to get started?
Yeah, I am. As a matter of fact, as soon as I get done with you guys here, I'm going to head on over to Sloan Stadium where the Cardinals and Cubs are playing today.
Nice.
Are they in Arizona today?
Yeah, they're in Arizona today and tomorrow before they start in Los Angeles on Thursday. So I didn't even realize they were coming here until last week. I was just looking at the schedule, and I said, holy cow, they're going to be here. So we're going to head on over there and watch the game today. I'm not going to make it tomorrow, but at least see today's game. And we're going to sit out in the bleachers. This Cubs Stadium out here is, I mean, Wrigley is iconic and all that, but it's, the bowels of the place, it's kind of a dump. But if you've been in there, you kind of know. But this facility they have out here is top notch. I mean, it's kind of replicated after Wrigley on the inside, but the outfield is all grass. So you sit out in the grassy area out there, and that's what we're going to do today. And sunny day, so it's going to be a nice day.
That sounds like fun.
Wonderful. Arizona in the springtime is fantastic for weather.
I've never been.
Yeah. It doesn't rain much, and it's sunny almost every day. And you got 15 teams out here now. A lot of them have migrated from Florida to Arizona. So, and they're all within like a 40-mile radius of each other. So, any time you want to go to a spring training baseball game, they're easy to get to if you're in the immediate area. And if you wait till the last minute, the tickets are cheap as can be. So it's awesome.
Definitely going to spring training is like near the top of my bucket list. Not just in terms of like something I want to do before I die, but like as a baseball fan as well.
Yeah. Yeah. As a kid growing up, you always heard the Cardinal broadcast with Jack Buck and Mike Shannon talking about spring training. They did the spring training games, and they just built this image in our minds as young people growing up in St. Louis. And man, we got to get there someday. It just sounded so cool, and it has become a pilgrimage for a lot of people. Over decades now and generations of Cardinal fans who just love going to Florida for spring training. It's awesome. And I think the Cardinals, since I've been out here, I haven't heard, but I'm pretty sure they totally rebuilt that, the stadium down there, Roger Dean Stadium. I heard to the point where it wasn't even going to be ready for spring training. Were there any complications with that? Did any of you guys hear anything about that?
Josh?
I originally heard that it might not be ready, but I think they finished it. I think it was fine. But yeah, they did renovate the whole entire thing.
I think they took out the clubhouses.
Yeah.
They follow a lot closer than I do, so I don't watch much spring training, but they watch every game, it seems like.
Yeah,
every game we can.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think the Cardinals are going to do this year? How do you think the season's going to go? Bouncing back from a rough season last year.
Yeah, it's hard to know. I mean, I thought going into last year, the Cardinals looked great. I thought they were going to have a fantastic season. So that goes to show you how much I know. I think, and I hate to be so critical of the World Baseball Classic, but I don't know. I think it contributed to some of our players getting off to slow starts at the beginning of the year, like Miles Michaelis and Wainwright got hurt. I think working out while he was on that team. And then, Arenado and Goldschmidt got off to slow starts, I think. So I don't know. I think maybe that contributed to the slow start. And then they fell so far behind so early that they started, pressing, and the thing just fed on itself, and they could never dig themselves out of that hole. So that's not going to be the case this year for any of the teams, for that matter. I mean, what's his name also hurt himself in the match, their closer. So other teams were dealing with the same thing, I think, with some of their players. But I don't know. I think that thing just got the Cardinals off to a bad start, and they just never recovered. So this year, I don't know. Go ahead. I'm sorry, guys.
Didn't Edwin Diaz blow out his knee in like a celebration or something there?
Yeah.
Yeah. The the Mets closer. Yeah,
That's insane.
And there were some other guys that I think came out of this, but
Yeah,
again,
Altuve, he
Hit some with his knees, right?
yeah, Altuve got hurt out of that too. Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
that's right. Yeah, so.
I mean, I still think it's a good thing.
Yeah,
The World Baseball
it's just a
Classic is-
risk.
That was so much fun to watch
Yeah.
last year.
It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah, and I know for especially for younger generations, people your age, I know you guys have really, because they built that thing up real nicely now, and I think it really has become something special. But remember when they first started, people of my generation were going, "What the heck? What are we going to do that for? We're about ready to start our season, and our players are playing over there." So we're still kind of grumpy about it, but I think it really has. It's got a good following by younger people.
I definitely agree with that. The way they did it was perfect. If it was earlier, I think more in like January instead of March, I think it would have done better because people could recover if they got hurt or something. Do it more winter ball to keep the interest going all the off season.
Yeah, I think you're right. They could play in so many different places. They could play here in Arizona. They could play in Florida. They could play, in the Dominican and Puerto Rico and all over the warm weather areas. So they could do it in the middle of January and give the guys a break between that ending and spring training.
Delay spring training even a couple weeks and
The season
give me
already
more
goes
time. Yeah,
forever.
yeah.
Yep.
So one thing I was wondering, we were talking the other day about somebody was talking about press passes and going to games. Do you ever get tired of going to every single baseball game every year?
No, I really don't. No, I look forward to it. I've said many times I consider that to be my mountain to climb every year. I make every game because when they hired me, that's what they said to me in 1983. They said, if we hire you, we want somebody who's going to make every game because we want the fan experience to be the same every time they come to the stadium. And I said, well, I'm your guy. I'll do that. And that's been my commitment to them ever since. Now I have missed about 5 games, 5 or 6 games.
You've only missed 5 games.
or 80.
You've missed 5 games in 41 years.
Well, this is my 40th year. There was a period. There was a year in 1991. I got fired by the Cardinals because of something I did on the radio, kind of a prank attempt at being satirically humorous that didn't go over very well, and so I wasn't there in 1991, and then in 1992 I filled in for Mike Kelly, who was my replacement, for about 5 games, I think. And then I got the job back in 1993.
That's insane.
Wow.
That's an interesting.
So
Yeah. So in the years that I've done it, this will be my 40th full year. So in all the years I've done it, 39 full seasons, I've missed 5 games.
Wow.
That's insane.
Mad props to you. Mad props to you.
How do you do that? How do you've never you not get sick ever? Or?
Well, so far, knock on wood, I've never been sick enough to miss any games.
That's insane.
That's crazy.
And yeah, I mean, the only games I missed, one game was because we booked a vacation to leave on a Sunday night, and they moved the Cardinal Cub game from that afternoon to the evening, and we couldn't change our flight, so I had to miss that game. And then I missed a game of a funeral of my grandmother, and I can't remember the other. There was a college graduation that I had to miss a game for. But my daughters have planned their weddings around Cardinal schedule, and even my daughter Abigail had our first grandchild here recently, and he was born on a road trip. So while the team was on a road trip, so everybody kind of got the message loud and clear that Dad's not going to miss a Cardinal game for just about anything.
That's insane.
I love that.
That's amazing that you've never missed a game. I just shocked in 40 years you've missed 5 games. I think I've had it work for like 8 years, and I think I've called in sick twice. But in 40 years, 5 times is insane.
Well, another thing that we do down there is, the Cardinals. I guess about maybe a dozen years ago or so, started making a commitment to a lot of high school programs to play high school games down there. So on top of the 81 Cardinal games, we're doing about 32 high school games as well. So when I get back at the end of this week, right away, right after the first Cardinal weekend homestand, we start doing high school games left and right. So we'll do about 15 of them here in April, and maybe 10 in May, and then a couple in June. And it gets, I'm down there these next 2.5 months. I'm down there almost every day.
Wow.
I can proudly say that twice my high school has played at Busch Stadium. So I've had the pleasure of being one of the few people who has had their name called by you. So that's something I'm very proud of, and something I really enjoy bragging about as much as I can.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, it's really become a special thing, you know. I mean, the Cardinals sell the packages as, you know, we do the games, high school games, just like we do the Cardinal games. I'm the announcer, and they have walk-up music and video replay and stuff like that. And so, you know, I take that seriously. That you know it's a special moment for the young people who come up to the plate and they get their name announced at Busch Stadium. And also, you know, in this day and age now with video cameras, all the parents have their video cameras rolling, and you want to make sure you get the name right, you know. So I make sure I sit down on the field when I do the high school games so I can yell out to the on-deck circle if the kid comes up and I don't see his name matching his number. You know, say, hey, what's your name? And he tells me what his name is, and I make sure I get it right so parents can't come back to me and play it back in my face. You messed up my kid's name.
Isaac's last name is not easy to say, but you've had a lot of practice saying it. Tell me your last name.
You might have remembered a closing pitcher, Jason Isringhausen. Well,
sure.
I'm related to him. I'm a second or third cousin of his.
Oh, what's your name?
Isaac Isringhausen.
Oh, I thought you came. Yeah, you came. I remember your name. I remember saying your name down at Joy.
That's crazy.
I was actually gonna ask you if you remembered saying that. That's crazy.
He's been talking about that since I told him you were coming on the show. He said, I can't wait to ask him if he remembers me.
Yeah, I was looking around for Jason to see if he was even at the. But I don't think he was. But well, that was just like maybe a few years ago, right? It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, the first time my high school came down there to play was I want to say in June of 2017, and then the last time I played was in June of 2019. My final career high school baseball game was played at Busch Stadium, and my final at bat was a base hit. So that's something I don't take lightly.
All right, that's awesome. Yeah, that is so cool. Good for you. Yeah, we've had some great moments with kids down there, who've come up and had some big moments. Oh man, I'm trying to remember one just recently that was so cool. But you know, we've had a few. We've only had maybe in the last dozen years or so that I've been doing these high school games, I would say maybe 4 or 5 guys have actually hit the ball out of the stadium, and they get a plaque for that.
That's awesome.
You earn a plaque.
We had a couple. We had a couple of them with inside the park home runs, but I don't think they get a plaque. I think you got to hit it over the wall.
Yeah,
that's a long fence, though. That's a deep fence at Busch. It's not small. So if you're 17 years old, hitting the ball over that fence, you're doing something right.
Yeah. There's only been a few guys, and one guy was kind of small too. It was kind of unbelievable.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's been fun. I really enjoyed doing it. Although sometimes, you know, we get those shitty weather days, and you know, you're sitting out there freezing doing a high school doubleheader.
I've been there. I used to umpire, and I've had those days where it's freezing and the days when it's 107.
Oh yeah.
You know, I would do 4 or 5 games out in 106-degree weather.
Yeah. And we also do the Cardinals fantasy camps down there too, and I get to do those games, and you know, I got guys from. Yeah, you got guys from, you know, maybe late 30s to 80 who get out there and try to play. And they'll have the Cardinal players on their teams with them. And there was one year Brian Jordan was playing, and he was playing center field. It was a championship game, and the score was his team was up by a run. The other team had the bases loaded, and this older guy gets up there and he hits a line drive out in center field. And Brian Jordan comes rushing in and makes his head-first diving catch and saves the game for his team to win the championship. And the whole place went nuts. It was, you know, you would think it was, you know, fantasy, you know, no big deal. But even to Brian Jordan, he had enough pride in his, you know, 40s or whatever to make sure that his team won that thing. It was funny.
Didn't he play in the NFL too?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. He was as excited winning that game as I saw him when he was excited winning big Cardinal games. It was crazy.
You mentioned big Cardinal games. You haven't missed a game in God knows how long. What's the most exciting game you've ever seen live? And I got a good feeling I know what it is, but there's been a lot of big games at Busch Stadium.
Yeah, it's Game 6 of the
That's what I
2011
thought.
World Series. Yeah, by a mile, man. That thing was unbelievable, as you all know. And I remember walking out of the stadium, and I was stunned. I mean, I haven't felt like that ever before in my life. I was like, I can't believe what I just saw. My daughter called me, and I was walking out of the stadium, and that's all I could say to her. I can't believe what I just saw, Olivia. I was just stunned, and I'm walking out, and people are going crazy outside the stadium and stuff, and I'm just kind of in a fog, in a zone. I just walked to my car and drove home. I just felt like it was a surreal experience. It was just an incredible outcome, and then for the hometown guy to hit the home run to win it too, on top of what he did in the ninth inning, was just amazing. And then all the pressure started building for Game 7. Because if you didn't win Game 7, then Game 6 would have been kind of not an afterthought, but it would have lost its luster, And they won that game, and gosh, I'm so excited, so happy. So Game 6, number 1, Game 7, number 2, for sure.
That was the greatest game in the history of baseball. I don't think anything will ever top. People say when the Cubs won in 16, Game 6 was miles better.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of any other World Series game that had the back and forth like that,
and a hometown hero.
And the hometown hero. I mean, I think you're right. I think it was the greatest World Series game ever. But if it would have happened in New York and L.A., it certainly would be. But we don't get as much.
We don't get any recognition here for good things.
Yeah.
You guys get?
Yeah.
You got a question?
Well, I guess, yeah. So, of all the games you've called, is there one player that stick out that name was harder to pronounce the others? Like, obviously, I know you have the pronunciation guide, but, like, is there one that's been, like, a stick in the mud kind of for you to pronounce every time they come to play it?
It's not so much one name that's harder than all the others. It's the back and forth that happens sometimes with names. Like you'll hear it. I'll look at the pronunciation guide and I'll say it that way. Then I'll hear the announcer from the team that guy's on say it another way, and I'll go, "Uh-oh, what the hell's going on?" And so that's kind of confusing at times. But for me, I'm more careful and more concerned about getting the first name right of the person who has a very common last name. Like there have been so many Smiths and so many Martinez's and so many Garcias. Keeping the right first name with that guy's common last name. After all these years, I've had so many of these guys with these common names come through. That's what I struggle with.
Interesting. I could see how that would be hard. Yeah. Especially Garcia's and Martinez's on the Cardinals. We've had no shortage.
Or like Jaime Garcia was spelled Jamie, so I could see how that one would be.
Yeah. So I just because sometimes you're just doing the game and you're just saying the names. And they just kind of roll off your tongue. You don't really give much attention to especially if it's an easy name. I can easily just, instead of saying Jordan Walker, say Greg Walker, or who's the Walker we had to play right field?
Larry.
In college. Larry Walker. Or was one I screwed up about 3 years ago. I called Lane Thomas Justin Thomas, the golfer. I mean, it can happen.
I was just going to ask about that.
We were talking about golf because we were talking about golf in the room because I work in a room with a bunch of people. I'm not in an isolated booth or anything. So we were talking golf and then talking about Justin Thomas and stuff. Whenever out comes Lane Thomas, and I call him Justin Thomas.
Is that the worst blunder you've had as the Cardinal PA announcer?
Yeah, those are the most. Those are embarrassing. Yeah. But at the same time, most people who go to the game, they're not listening to me. They're talking. They're having their own good times. They're not really necessarily paying attention to what I'm saying. So a lot of the mistakes that I'll make, and I'm like anybody, I make mistakes. People don't even notice them, really. The PA, the press box people notice it. The official scorer will notice it. I don't want to make mistakes in front of them. But
anytime,
I can remember going to baseball games. I remember going to baseball games before I got the Cardinal job, and never even hearing the PA guy.
It's kind of like the soundtrack of the game. Like, it's in the background. It's there, but you're not paying attention to it.
Yeah. Right.
You just know that somebody's there and they're telling you what's going on. You hear it, and you know who's up because of it, but you're not looking for it.
That and the music.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I used to do the music down there. I did the music down there I did a combination of the PA and the music from about 1980. I guess we started playing recorded music about 80, 85, 86, somewhere in that area. And Ernie Hayes, of course, was the organist at that time.
Is he still the organist?
And he was reluctant. Ernie Hayes.
Yeah, is he not there anymore?
No, Ernie's been gone for quite some time now.
Oh.
Maybe 10 years.
Oh.
But Ernie was very reluctant to give up his playing time for the recorded music, because prior to that it was all him. And we slowly made the transition to it, and then they didn't want to hire anybody in particular just to do that job because there wasn't much to it, at that time. So as it grew and became more and more important part of the presentation of the game, they decided to hire somebody specifically for that job. So that person sits next to me now in the booth.
So what was it like to call games as a PA announcer during the COVID season with no fans in the stands? I think they had PA and walk-up music still that year, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, they did. Yeah, we did. We did. Still had the PA announcer and walk-up music. And it was eerie, but, it wasn't that eerie for me because I'd done so many high school games down there with not a lot of people in the stands.
Yeah.
And sometimes with nobody in the stands. It didn't seem that odd to me. But it was kind of weird, though. We had the sound effects of the crowd playing on the PA system. That person was sitting next to me. We'd have fun with that. Like if a Cardinal player got a hit, we'd jack it up. And then pull it back down and go up and down based on what the team was doing. So that was kind of funny. And, it was easier getting in and out of the stadium. I could tell you that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
I bet.
Yeah, I bet.
That's one thing. Busch Stadium is not that crazy hard to get out of compared to other places.
No.
I've never had a hard time. Like the Dome. Go next door to the Dome when it's packed and have fun getting out of there.
Yeah.
You park in the garage at the Dome, it's going to take you 2 hours to get out. Busch, you're out in 3 minutes.
The highway's right there, and I think that helps.
Yeah. 44 is
Where
right
are you
there.
parking to where you're getting out of Busch Stadium in 3 minutes?
I've never had any issue ever getting out of Busch Stadium. That gravel lot right next to the stadium.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, the one that's like $30.
It used to be like 15.
Yeah, it's like 30 now. But yeah, we can get out of there in like 5 minutes. Huh. The closer you park, the faster you get out.
Do you have your own parking spot there?
I don't. The car. They said I can have one if I want one, but I find it harder to get out the closer I am because you got so many people walking and they block the exits to the parking lots. And so what I do is I have a secret, super duper secret spot that I park in about 3 blocks away. And as soon as the game is over and I get out, I sprint to my car. I got it aimed at the ramp to get onto the highway, and I jump in my car and I'm gone. I can't tell you how many times I've had friends after the game, call me and say, "Hey, meet us over at Ballpark Village for a drink." Whatever. I said, "Man, I'm at 40 in Lindbergh, dude."
You do get out of there then.
Yeah.
You don't have to stay around after the game to do anything, or?
Usually not. No. Well, if there's a high school game, And like I said, here in April and May, there'll be a lot of high school games after Cardinal Day games.
That's what I didn't. So I didn't play in high school, but I kept score one year for the baseball team, and we got to go down there. I didn't get announced or anything, but I was there. I sat in the dugout. I wanted to go in the bullpen, and they wouldn't let me. They told me to stay.
What's your team?
Eureka.
Oh, yeah. Eureka comes every year.
Oh, they still come?
Yeah.
It was pretty cool to get to sit in the dugout for an actual baseball game. I really wanted to go in the bullpen, but they said I had to stay off the field. I don't know why, but I wasn't allowed out there.
Yeah. Yeah, and recently I started doing interviews with the young players that come in that are headed to Division I schools to play, and that's been kind of exciting and fun to do too. And then I enjoy watching their careers develop or not develop, whichever may be the case.
That is cool. You get to keep track of somebody like that. Has anybody panned out to anything that you've seen come in high school?
Let's see. I'm trying to think if any players from St. Louis High School. The closer for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Oh, Devin Williams. Yeah.
And you guys got that quick.
Because we watch baseball.
Yeah.
These guys.
And I'm pretty sure when he pitched for at Busch Stadium as a high school player, I'm pretty sure when he came off the mound he vomited in the infield.
That's crazy.
Is he nervous or?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's the one who did that. I've been meaning to, I've never been around him to ask him that since, and although I probably wouldn't be a smart question to ask anyway, but but I think it was him when he was a kid and he pitched at Busch that day. But there was another guy. Yeah, I think you do too, if I ever get a chance. But there was a tall, skinny kid that was pitching for Alton that he made it to, I think, AA or AAA with the Cubs. Can't think of his name right now. But there haven't been many. Very few.
There was a lot at once. Like Lafayette High School had like 3 people in the big leagues at once. Howard, Freeze, and I think somebody else.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but I don't remember those guys playing at Busch as high school players. They may have, but I don't remember that.
The Zoom call is telling me it's going to end in 10 minutes. You mind if we hop off real quick and get right back on?
Yeah, what time we got here? Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
Awesome. I'll end it, and then it should be the same link. We should just hop right back on.
Okay.
Cool. I hate Zoom for that.
Yeah, it's so inconvenient. But it's not worth paying $150 for. I think it's
$150 a month.
Jesus.
It might be. I don't know. It's stupid expensive for Zoom.
I need to pee.
One of you guys, you got any questions for him?
I got a couple, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm trying not to ask all of them, so I'm trying to.
Yeah.
If there's dead space, I'm trying not to.
I don't want to buy Zoom stock.
Probably lose at this point.
You're back?
You're back? Sorry about that. I'm not paying for Zoom, so.
Oh, that's all right.
It's $50 a month.
$50 a month for Zoom?
That's insane.
No, thank you. I'll do it this way.
We're broke college kids. We can't afford that.
Yeah, we can't. $50 a month. I've used Zoom twice in the last year. Right now with you and with Learn last week.
Yeah. Yeah, she's great. I really loved working with her for the years that I got to.
She was a lot of fun on air. I'm a big. I've listened to Riz forever. So when she was on there, I didn't really know much about her when she got on there. Now she's one of my favorites on that show. So.
Oh, absolutely.
She was really cool to have on.
Right.
And she set us up with you, so which was awesome. Really nice of her. She had nothing but phenomenal things to say about you.
Oh, same here at my end with her. I mean, she came onto the scene as in our promotions department, and actually, I inadvertently, just kind of luckily got her job there through a friend of mine, and I've helped people get jobs over the years, and some have gone on and done well, and others, they haven't. They've gone into other areas of the business world or whatever. But I could tell right away that she was going to make it in broadcasting, because she just has such a bubbly personality and the gift of conversation, and she just, this is just fun to be around, and it was just, just obvious that she had what it was going to take to make it,
I've met her in person once, and I can tell what you mean about that bubbly personality. It was at a Glory Pro Wrestling show, and she was all kinds of energy and happy to see everybody.
Yeah.
And I could tell she's what you're talking about.
Yeah, she's funny, and,
she definitely
goofy.
is. So let's talk a little bit about Cashapp. You were there for how long? You've been there since when?
Yeah. I started in 1976. I was 19 years old, and I've been full time since the very beginning. And I have been lucky to be at the radio station during the years of tremendous success, and just got to meet so many eventual rock stars over the years. Back when they first started out, they weren't rock stars, We met a lot of people who were just as anonymous as, the Billy Joels of the world or Steve Perry's of Journey, who went nowhere, as we did, people who eventually became very successful. So it was a exciting period of time to be involved in the rock and roll business and the radio business, because radio was so important to the music world. It still is important, but not as important as it was back then. I mean, if a musician wanted to make it in the world, they had to get radio airplay. So radio was a very, very powerful vehicle for these artists, and we were a part of that. We helped build and develop a lot of these great rock stars that have been around for decades.
That's really cool.
So, yeah, and doing interviews with these guys, they come into the radio station and just want to hang out, because they had a show that night. What else are they going to do during the day,
Right.
So they'd go to the local radio station, hang out with the DJs, and play DJ on the radio for a while or whatever,
Who's the coolest person you got to interview or have on the show?
Boy, there were so many over. Yeah, I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, name somebody, because help my memory, because sometimes when people ask me a general question like that, I kind of flounder around trying to think of people.
Have you ever had
anybody
like Metallica? I'm sure you've had them on.
Yeah, Robert. I interviewed Robert Trujillo for a long period of time. One day we were in a live broadcast out on Cherokee Street, and he was cool as can be. I have never met Lars, some of the other guys in the band. Kirk Hammett I've interviewed on the phone when he,
that would be so cool. Is that just your job to interview these famous rock stars? That'd be so cool.
Yeah. What are some of your other favorite bands?
Rock bands I like. I'm trying to think now. I'm blanking on names. What about you guys? Rock music.
Motley Crue.
Yeah, Motley Crue. No, I never really met any of the guys in Motley Crue.
How about Joan Jett? You ever met Joan Jett?
I don't think I've ever met Joan Jett. No. But I mean, like Billy Joel was a guy. One time I was standing out in front of the radio station. This was 76, somewhere in that 76, early 77, and the radio station was out in Crestwood, in a little building next to the 66 Drive-In. It looked like the popcorn stand for the 66 Drive-In. It was that small of a building that we were in. And Billy Joel comes down the driveway. He had hitchhiked to the radio station in a green Rambler. And I was standing out front and got out of that Rambler, and I said, "That's Billy Joel." And he goes, "Yeah, I'm Billy Joel. I'm here to do an interview on Casey." And this is it. So we took him inside. Mark Close did the interview, and there's a picture of him. And he came that day that we have blown up at the radio station. And now I just recently saw Billy Joel 2 weekends ago with my daughter in Dallas, and the guy sells out stadiums, and it's just unbelievable that he when he came in that day to the radio station, he had already released the song Piano Man. I mean, that was already a hit, but he was still a struggling artist at that time. Just one hit back then wasn't enough to make you a superstar. And so, to see him evolve like that from that humble day is pretty special. And then Journey, huh?
Did you say he hitchhiked to the radio station?
Yeah, he did. He hitchhiked from downtown out to Crestwood.
That's a dangerous game to play.
Yeah, well, back then hitchhiking was actually somewhat common. A lot of people did it.
That was a very different time. Now you do that, you get kidnapped.
Yeah, right. Well, I thought you could get kidnapped back then too, but a lot of people did it anyway.
I remember hearing Jeff Burton used to pick up hitchhikers until like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Is that true? He actually did that?
Yes, that's true. That is true. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean,
Jeff was an old soul, man. He was an old hippie type guy, and we loved Jeff. It was sad to see what happened with him. And,
he was a good guy.
Yeah, such a good guy, kind guy. And that was him because he was kind. He was so, giving all the time. Oh, you need a ride? Yeah, I'll pick you up. I'll take you.
He lives like 3 neighborhoods. He lived like 3 neighborhoods over from me, so I know his kids.
Yeah.
I've
I've
only met him once or twice, but his daughters were great. Or the one I knew in high school was always nice to me.
Yeah, he was a special guy.
He was. Listened to him for years growing up.
Yeah, that show has done very, very well. They've been on top now for a number of years. I want to say, maybe a dozen years.
Something like they've been around a while. They're a good show.
Yeah.
With
Lerner and I were trying to.
Sorry.
It was funny. Lerner and I together. We were trying to catch him, trying to compete with him, and we could never close the gap on him.
That show is just, they got ridiculously loyal listeners too, from what I've been told. Like people don't listen to other stuff because they're on.
Yeah.
Which is hard to compete with. Like, I know Randy's on in the morning too, and you're on in the morning. There's good shows on.
Yeah.
It's tough to.
Yeah.
On sorry.
As I say, they got a generation locked up right now. A generation of listeners who are really right now age wise in that sweet spot as far as advertisers want. 25, 54 adults. They're right in there with they got a great grip on that age group.
They do. It's a fun show.
So kind of going back to baseball, like what are some of your like fondest memories in terms of like not just Cardinal players that you've got to announce, but like just teams from opposing players? Like, is there any guy like kind of sticks out over like a guy who was just fun to announce or like fun to be around if you did have chances to be around some of the players?
From other teams. I mean, it's always a thrill when a superstar comes to town and you're going to announce their name. It's also a thrill when a former Cardinal comes back and you announce them and the crowd gives them a standing ovation, like when Albert Pujols came back. That was thrilling to be a part of that.
I was there that day. It was the loudest crowd I've ever heard.
So was I.
Yeah. But to have my voice connected with some of that baseball history is pretty, exciting, and proud to be a part of all that. I don't think, has Ohtani come to Busch Stadium?
He did.
He was there last year.
Yeah, okay.
I was at the game that he pitched.
So was I.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it was cool to announce him and Mike Trout.
Yeah.
I'll
never forget that game.
But even going back to the days of Tony Gwynn and so many great players over the years, to announce their names, and St. Louis fans being classy will give them a good an ovation. I used to hang out with the players a lot back in the '80s when I was the same age as players. With Tommy Hers and Joe McGrain. Joe McGrain's still a close friend. Willie McGee, just love Willie.
I've never heard of somebody not liking Willie. Willie's just the most lovable guy.
He really is, and so is Ozzie, and Vince Coleman and I were close. The first time I'm pretty sure first time Vince Coleman ever played golf was with me.
Really?
At a shitty golf course called Arrowhead Golf Course that was down in South County. It's gone now. They tore it out and put homes in, and he was terrible, and so. As time went on, he and I would talk about golf, and we played a few times after that. And then he left the Cardinals, and I think he might live in Arizona now. I could be wrong about that, but he plays every day now. Supposedly he's really good. But
come a long way from when he started.
Yeah. When Vince we went to New York, and I think he got in some trouble, like with fireworks or something. He set off some firecrackers or something at some fans or something.
I have read that story. Yeah.
I mean, he's not a malicious guy at all, So I know he was probably acting stupid, just trying to have some fun, and went overboard. And he got some negative flack on that. But when that happened, I felt bad for him. So I know he didn't mean that to be, a horse's ass. But
were you there when he got tripped up by the tarp?
I was just going to ask that.
Well, I was working for the team at that time, yes. And I was driving to the stadium when I heard what had happened. It happened before the game, obviously, when they were just taking the tarp off for batting practice. So I wasn't at the stadium at the moment, but I got there not long after. And then I talked to him afterwards, and it was just unbelievable that, as Jack Buck once said, hard to believe that the fastest guy in the game got run over by a tarp that was moving 1 mile an hour.
One of the fastest guys in the history of baseball.
Yeah. How the hell that happened? So it just kind of came up on him, and his ankle got stuck under there, and that was it.
That's insane. It cost him the World Series too, I think.
Sure did.
That was 87, right?
It was 85.
Okay. Yeah, was it? Yeah.
No, wait. Yeah, it was 85. Yeah, 85.
Against the Royals?
Yeah. Against the Royals, yeah.
When Don did
87, Jack Clark was hurt. Jack Clark and Terry Pendleton were hurt in that World Series. That's what cost us that World Series. But, 85 was when, the Cardinals would have won that World Series if Vince Coleman would have been there.
Or if Don Dinkinger didn't screw him.
Yeah, if we had instant replay like we do now, that's what makes it hurt even more.
Right.
Because it's been fixed. That problem has been fixed. That thing could have been overturned, and that's why to this day I hate Kansas City. I've always hated all their sports teams, and I tell you, it grates on me that St. Louisans are now becoming Kansas City Chiefs football fans. I can't stand it. I got people in my family. I got people in my family who love the Chiefs. And I'm like, stop it! I can't leave the house when the damn Chiefs come on. They want to watch the Chiefs. I can't take it. It just grates on me. And then their owner voted with Stan Kroenke to move our team out of St. Louis so that he could, have this territory. And it's just ridiculous. But
that's the same.
That's the old man.
My grandpa's the same way. He hates the Chiefs because of their owner.
Yeah. If you're an older guy, well, here's another thing with me, which is just unbelievable. My oldest daughter, Olivia, went to TCU for 4 years, and who her roommate was in her first 2 years? The daughter of the owner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Wow.
Yeah, and he took us to dinner one night. Lamar Hunt Jr., not the guy who actually runs the team right now. Lamar Hunt isn't the one who's running the team. Of course, he's one of the owners, but he's not actively running the team. I forget the guy. Which Hunt runs it now?
I'm not sure. Isaac?
Okay.
I know it's one of the Hunts. I'm just not exactly sure which one.
Lucas?
Yeah, Lamar Hunt Jr. is not. Yeah, he got in some sort of issue that I don't know what the problem was with something, and so he just sits in the back and sits in the background and hauls in a bunch of money. But his brother runs the team. But he was a nice guy and everything too, So my daughter roots for the Chiefs because of that, and my wife roots for him, and my son-in-law and who's married to my second daughter, Abigail, they were living in Kansas City. He had a part-time job with the Chiefs. So it was like, I can't get away from these bastards.
What team are you a fan of?
None. Zero. I come down here to Arizona. I thought, well, maybe I'll get back into the Cardinals because that was my team when I was a young guy growing up. And they're so bad. And the same son-in-law who's working part-time with the Chiefs is now working part-time with the Arizona Cardinals. And, he keeps saying, well, give them time. They'll get better, whatever. But I still have that anger in my heart and soul that they left St. Louis when I was a kid, and when I was about 25 when they left.
I am unfortunately an Arizona Cardinals fan, and they aren't going to get any better anytime soon, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
No.
His whole face lit up when you said you were a Cardinals fan.
There's 4 people that say that they're Cardinals fans, or could be, and I know half of them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh, so you are? What makes you a Cardinal fan?
My grandparents live in Arizona, and I grew up watching games when I was out there with them, so they've always been over the Rams and stuff for me.
Yeah, so my little grandson, he's probably going to be raised an Arizona Cardinal fan, so I guess maybe I better get back into them.
Kyler Murray wants to play more Call of Duty than he wants to play football, so it's hard to win.
I know, he's
a
talented guy. He's a talented guy, and he's not that tall, and it's amazing that he's able to do what he does. But I hate to admit it too, but Mahomes is probably the best quarterback I've ever seen of all my years watching NFL football. And until somehow he's not with the Chiefs, they're probably still going to be good,
He's so fun to watch.
He is. There's
nobody like him ever.
He's a magician. Yeah, he is. He's unbelievable.
I've seen that man.
I hate him.
He's diving. His head is near the ground. He can still throw the ball 40 yards. I can't do that standing upright.
I know. He's unbelievable. I mean, I know Tom Brady is considered to be the best ever, but if Mahomes stays healthy, I think he's going to surpass him, unfortunately, and win many more Super Bowls for that shitty city.
I think talent-wise, he's better than Brady ever was, in my opinion. But in terms of accolades, Brady clears him.
Say that again.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
In terms of talent, I think Mahomes is better than Brady ever was, but accolades-wise, Brady clears him.
Yeah.
And Brady had some good receivers, too. Mahomes takes the bum squad to the Super Bowl every year. Other than Travis. Kadarius Toney is terrible. Raheem Rice is okay. The other guy is just there. Him and Pacheco and Kelsey carried that team.
Yeah, you're right.
At least Brady had Edelman and Wes Welker and Amendola.
Yeah.
Are you a big football fan? Or are you just kind of...
Yeah, I was. I used to be until the Rams left. And I'm just, if you're my age, you lost 2 football teams in your lifetime. And, the NFL, they could have so easily have taken care of this. They could have said, hey, look, Stan wants to go. We can't stop him. We're going to give St. Louis a team. Okay, we'll give you a team. Let him go. And, hang with us. Give us some time. We'll get St. Louis a team. We'll get an owner in there. And everything would have been fine, But no, didn't unfold that way. And we ended up having to sue them. And now we'll never get a team until who knows when, if ever. And St. Louis keeps dropping in terms of city rankings. We're like 26th out of way out of the top 20 now. Out of the top 25, I think, now, metropolitan area. So that's not helping either.
Yeah, downtown is not a place I like to go to alone.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends. That's in any city, and I've lived down here now for this second winter we spent down here, and people say the same thing about downtown Phoenix as they do about downtown St. Louis, and I'm sure it's the same way other metropolitan areas. Big cities, it's just going to be that way, man. Most big cities are going to have crime, man. Wherever you have high concentration of people, and in some instances, people who are disadvantaged or poor, you're going to have crime.
That's true. It's a shame, but that's how it is.
Yeah. It's a reality, I think, of our society.
One thing I was wondering about, the one call that I always hear in my head when I think of your voice is you announcing Adam Wainwright. I don't know why, but Adam Wainwright is always the one I hear. Is he one of your favorite people to announce, or is he just?
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
Is he as good of a guy as he seems to?
Absolutely. Everything you think you know about Adam Wainwright is right on the mark based on what you've seen him out in public and you've seen him on the field. Was a great competitor. And yeah, he's one of my favorites for sure. And one of the last guys on the team that I really had a chance to get to know a little bit. Like I say now, I'm much older than those guys, so I don't get into the locker room at all, to be honest with you, anymore. I mean, it used to be so easy. You get a press pass if you work for a radio station, you got in. And now, with social media and everything, they're so tight with who can get in anymore to cover the teams. And, they make you wait like an hour, 45 minutes or an hour before you can get to talk to a player after a game. And I'm just not going to sit around and do that, Back in the 80s and 90s, the game was over, boom, I'd go right in the locker room and sit down and, talk to the guys and have a beer with them, actually, when that was allowed.
You can't do that anymore?
No, I don't think so. I mean, they might. I haven't been in the Cardinal locker room in probably 10 years.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
so
crazy.
I don't really know. But yeah. Just kind of go in and do my job and out of there, to be honest with you.
That's crazy. Did you work with Jack Buck closely at all?
Not closely, but yeah, Jack would have me on Camo X for pregame interviews occasionally. He would interview different people who did different jobs around the stadium every year. And every once in a while, he'd call me in and do an interview with me. And yeah, Jack, when I first started down there, I was intimidated by Jack for sure because, he's this iconic guy. And he would have me on to do his interviews before the game, and I'd be so damn nervous, man. I'd almost shit my pants. And so, I mean, I was that nervous, And so, as time went on, it became easier to be with Jack, to talk with Jack. And then one day, I was pulled up late to play in a golf tournament at the Bluffs. And who pulls up next to me also running late to the tournament was Jack Buck. And I went, son of a gun. And the guy who came up to get my bag out of my trunk put my bag on the cart, and he pulled up to Jack's car and he put Jack's bag on the same cart. And I went, holy shit, I'm going to play golf with Jack Buck today. That's unbelievable. So that day it was like 98 degrees, humid as hell, just, so hot and uncomfortable. And about 6 or 7 holes into it, Jack said, he got to the tee box and he was getting ready to hit the shot. And he said, John, if I keel over out here, go for my right back pocket. And I went, what? Well, all right. I said, why, Jack? He said, the reason I was late coming over here because I was over at the horse track and there's $4,000 in my back pocket.
That's so
good. Yeah, it was. I got to know him a little bit there, and he was a great guy.
That's got to be so cool. He's like probably the greatest announcer of all time, or he's up there. And to be able to know him like that is really cool.
For St. Louis, he is for sure, and he had national presence too. People forget about that.
Well, he had that Kirk Gibson call, and he had the Kirby Puckett call, and all his iconic stuff. Him and Vince Scully were calling the same games for years. That's insane.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I think Vince and Harry Carey. I interviewed Harry Carey a few times, and one time, I was trying to get an interview with him, and he was waiting for the elevator to go up to the press box. And I purposely told him the wrong elevator to take so that I could get a longer interview with him. we were going down from the press box down to the field. So I he gets on the wrong elevator. He's got to switch over to another elevator the whole time I'm interviewing him. He's talking. He's walking from one elevator to the next one. And we get down into the bowels of the stadium, and you can hear the audio around me change. It gets real echoey as we're getting down into the bowels of the stadium. And at one point, he goes, where the hell are we going? What the? And I said, Jack, just one more question. He goes, I got to get out of here. He pushed his microphone away. Yeah, it was funny.
That's so cool. Do you guys have any other questions?
I'm good.
I'm good. I think so.
Well, John, we thank you for coming on the show today. We had a great time talking with you. It was really awesome that you took the time to do this. I couldn't believe it when Lauren said we could talk to you, and then you responded. I was like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
We've all heard you for our whole life, so it's really cool to sit down and get to talk to you.
Soundtrack of the summer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Baseball heaven.
All right. Well, thank you, guys, and good luck to you in your careers, whatever you choose to do, man.
Thank
if you
you.
need any help, let me know.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate it. We look forward to this season and hearing you this summer.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Maybe I'll see you at Busch. Take care.
Have a good one.
Absolutely.
Bye.